So in this video, we're just going to be creating a JavaScript Pinterest clone. So let's add a pin. Let's click on this little plus sign here. Let's choose an image. And on the actual Pinterest website, this is a board selector. We're not doing multiple boards for this tutorial, so we can keep it simple. So we just coded this as a pin size selector. So let's select a large. Let's name the pin. Let's call first pin. A description, my first pin. And let's say destination link. Let's use xe.com. It's a currency conversion site. So we click the save button and it pins it to the board. We mouse over the pin and we get this little modal here. So let me add a few more pins. Let's do this guy right here. Let's do a small size. Small second pin, my second pin. Let's just go to yahoo.com. We save and let's add a few more. Alright, so I have a few pins on the board. Now there's no actual real difficult programming involved for the responsiveness. CSS grid handles that. So the CSS code, I think it's like 3 lines that handles this. So all we have to do is resize the browser like this, and it reconfigures based on the dimensions of the actual grid container. So we can go vertical like that. We mouse over these guys and we get the same modal, and we just go maximize and we get the full Pinterest board. And so before we begin, if you guys want to get updated as to what we're working on this channel, videos coming out throughout the week, little projects here and there, be sure to follow us on our Twitter and our Instagram socials. And so with that said, if this interests you at all, leave a like on this video. It helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And let's begin. All right, so we're just going to start by creating a pin mockup. And then we're going to do a modal mockup, which is how we're going to add a pin. We're going to merge those two. So we're going to use the modal to add a pin to the screen. And once those two things are working together, we're just going to fuse this into our Pinterest layout. And so in this video, we're not going to go over how to actually get the grid configuration of the Pinterest layout. That'll come in a separate video. It should be out before this video, but if it's not, it'll definitely come out after this video. So for just this video, we're just going to create a pin, create the modal for the adding of the pin, merge those two, and then merge all of that into our Pinterest layout. So let's start by creating a file for the pin. We'll call this pin, yeah. HTML, let's get this going on our server. We'll need a style sheet for this guy. Let's do a new file. We'll call it the pin styles.css. We'll need a script so we can add an image file with an input. So we'll call it pin script.js. All right, close that. And this normalizes just for all of the CSS. It's just the font we're using, the color of the font, normalizing the body, and we're just taking away any sort of unnecessary margin or padding for our bodies and divs. We're going to add custom margin and padding for things later on. So we close this. Let me get some HTML going. Not that. All right, let's link the two CSS files. So we're going to need a styles/normalize, copy paste, and we're going to need the pin styles. Let's link the script, source, /, we'll do scripts and pin script. All right, let's do some split screen. We'll do all the HTML, then we'll do the CSS, and then we'll do the JavaScript. So let me do this. Let's go left. This guy can go right. All right. So let's put an input so we can input file. So we can add a picture to this thing. Picture. We won't need this for the final. We're not going to take this for the final design. It's just for the pin mockup. This is what we're going to be copying and pasting into the modal, and then into the final project. So let's do a div.card, and in the card, we're going to have 3 sections. We're going to have a title. This title is not going to be shown to the user. It's just a unique thing. If you wanted to save this to a database, you could save by the title. I wouldn't. You have like a unique ID. It's just going to be on the page so you can run it through a database, but they're not going to see it. So we're going to style it so the user never sees this. We need the modal. So let's say pin modal. And in the modal, we'll have a head and a foot. Give some more space here. So we'll do div.modal head. Let's do div.modal foot. And in the head, we're just going to have that save button. None of these buttons are going to be actually functional. We're just doing a mock-up, so it's not going to be a complete copy of the Pinterest site. It's just all the buttons and stuff on screen. If you want to fill those out in the future, you can do that on your own time. So save _ card. We'll just save like that. And why am I not getting anything on screen? There we go. Let's see. Why was it an auto refreshing? All right, there we go. Save. All right, good. And in the foot, we have 3 sections or 3 buttons. The first section is going to be the destination, and every icon in this project is going to be surrounded by a container. That container is going to be a pinned mock icon container, and then every icon is in an image element. So image with the class pin mock icon like that. Scroll down, and so this destination icon or button on the footer, it's made up of 2 elements: the actual icon and then the span. We'll say eatery, or it's going to show the user where they're going. But this guy is just the icon right here. So we'll copy this, and this guy will be our send icon, and this guy will be our ellipses for edits or options, whatever you want to code it to. So let's get those on screen. And this guy was images, and this guy is the send icon, no, the upper right arrow. And let me just move over here a bit. Alt, destination. This guy is going to be the share or send. Images, send. There we go. Send, and finally the ellipses. So /images, ellipse. And this guy will be, we'll just say edit, save. All right, in the final section of our our card, so we have the title, we have the modal, so that's the thing that's gonna fade in and fade out when they mouse over it. And we have the actual image that we're gonna show in the modal. So pin image, and we're just gonna do an image like this. Now this image, are we doing it right now? Image? No, we're not doing it like that. All right, so we're gonna hard code it like this, but I think we'll do it in the modal, definitely in the final product. We're not going to hard code it. We're going to generate it on the back end, and we're just going to append it to this this element right here. But for now, we'll just do this pin image, save. All right, so we have the save button, we have the destination button, the destination text, we have the send icon or button, the ellipse icon or button, we have the pin image. Let's go into the CSS and get this looking proper. And we're just going to go in the same order we went in here. So start with the card, pin title, pin modal, all that stuff. So let's go to the pin styles, and we will start with the card. So a width of 236 pixels, 236 px, a height of, I think it was 472 px, and let's do a background color of green. It doesn't really matter at the end because the image is going to overlap, but just so you can see how we're transforming this thing. So save that. And let me do F5 here. Why is it not automatically refuse to apply? Because my type's not supported. Are those not properly linked? Style sheet CSS. Yeah, that was weird. There we go. And save. There we go. Let me move this over slightly. There. All right, so the card width, let's round the border. We'll do a border radius of 16 pixels. That's good. Let's do a position of relative. That doesn't really matter for this, the pin mockup. We're going to need this for the final merge. So I'm just putting it here for now. So pin relative. Let's do an overflow hidden, so we can get everything in the actual card like that. All right, that looks good. The next thing is going to be card the pin title. And remember I said we're not going to actually see it. So we'll just do this, pin title. And we'll do a width of 0, px, copy, paste, height, and just to make sure they never see it, opacity 0. The next guy is going to be the modal. All right, so the modal is going to go over top all of this. So .pin modal. So we'll do a width of 100%, copy left, not left, excuse me, height. we'll do a position of absolute. Let me give it a color so you can see how we're changing it. Background color, we'll do RGBA, a very faint black. So 0, 0, 0, and 0.1. 0.1, absolute, we'll do a top of 50%. We'll do a left of the same. Transform, translate, -50, -50. And let's do an opacity. Let me just show you. It's opacity of 0 to start. And for our hover, pin modal hover, we'll do opacity of 1. Save. And when we go over, and it's way too quick, let's do a transition duration of 0.3 milliseconds. Or 0.3 seconds, or 300 milliseconds. So that's our little modal there. But just so we can see all these things transforming, we just put the opacity to 1 for now. 1, so we get the width, we get the height, we've centered it. And just to make sure it's on top of everything always, let's do that here. Let's do a Z index of 9999. All right, let's move on to the the modal head. So let me copy this, paste that down here. And this is going to be the modal head. All right, so we're going to have a width of 100%. We'll have a height of 15%. And it's the head, so we're going to fix it to the top. So fixed top 0. And we'll do a display of flex. And we want this save, you can't really see it here, but the save button, we're on the right side here. So we'll do a justify content, flex end, and align it on the Y axis. So align items, we'll do a center. Okay. And let's do the save card. So let me copy this. And you don't really need to do what I'm doing here when I'm doing the long strings of pin modal head save card. Just makes it easier. If you're just looking through the CSS, you can tell that all of these stem from the pin modal instead of just having a floating standalone save card like that. So save _ card, however you want to do your CSS. All right, so the width was 53 pixels. The height was 40, I believe. Let's do a background color. And we'll do a hashtag FF. This should be a red color. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's move that away from the right side. So we'll do a margin of right, 20 pixels. There we go. Let's center that text, and we'll do this first. Font size, we'll do 14px. Font weight, 700. There we go. Let's do a color for the text of white. Let's round this guy, border radius. I think it was 22 pixels. px. And let's center that text. Do here display of flex. We'll justify content center. The line on the Y axis center as well. All right, that looks good. Save. We have font weight. Let's see what 16 looks like, if it looks better. What do you guys think? We'll do 14. Yeah, 14. All right, so that's the modal head with the card, or excuse me, the save button. There we go. It's a text thing. Let's do a cursor pointer. Cursor pointer. There we go. All right, let's move to the footer. The footer is just like the header, so we can copy that text here. Modal head. Copy this. Paste that down here. And this is the modal foot. And we want to space evenly. We want to fix it to the bottom first. And all of the little buttons, we want to space evenly. So space evenly. All right. So what's first here? Let's do the destination. Actually, no. Let's do the icons first. So we'll do this guy. Then we'll do this guy here. Then we'll do destination. So pin mock icon container. That's in anything throughout the app. So I'm not going to do a pin modal foot, pinned icon modal, or whatever container. Let's do standalone like this. Pin mock icon container. We'll do a width of, I think it was 32 by 32. 32. Let's do a background color. And that was hashtag F0. It should be like a white. There we go. good. Let's make those round. So border radius of 50%. Let's make sure they know they can click on it. So cursor pointer. And what am I missing here? Let's center the images in those icons. Let me just copy. Where did we center something here? Let me copy these three here. Copy those three. Paste that here. All right, let's make all of the icons actually fit inside the container. So that was pint mock icon. Very simple, just a width of 50% of the container. There we go. All right, so that's the icon. Let's make sure, because this icon's supposed to be, this eatery is supposed to be beside this guy. So let's fix the destination. So destination was pin modal foot destination. Pin modal foot. Let me copy this. Paste, and that was destination. All right, let's do a width of 132 pixels, and then we'll do a height of 32 pixels. And let's do a background color with that same white color. Hashtag F0, F0, F0. Here we go. Let's make sure, let's do the border radius first. Border radius of, I think it was 16. I did 16, 22, and this one's 18. There we go. Now let's make sure the eatery is beside the actual, that arrow. So we'll do a display of flex. And we'll align on the y-axis center. And let's do a, why is this, that's just selecting, yeah. And let's fix the font, actually cursor pointer first. Cursor pointer, let's fix that font. So font size, we'll do 16. Font weight, same thing, the 700. And 700, save. Cursored. All right, check this out. So let's do this. See how it goes off the container and it pushes the icon. Let's fix that. So let's take this, paste, that was the span, and we're just going to do an overflow of hidden, save, and there we go. Actually, flex start. Let's do justify content, flex start. That should fix that. And it's not, it's squishing the icon. So let's take that out of the, so it's in a flex box. To prevent the icon from being squished, where do we go? Icon container, that's the container that's being squished. Let's do this. I think it was flex, what is it? Flex shrink, should be 0. Let's see if that works. There we go. Let's fix the text up. We don't need all this stuff here. Eatery. All right, let's change the opacity back to 0 and see if it works, and then we'll code up the choose file. Actually, no, we have to center this image in the screen. But let's do the opacity thing first. And that was all the way up here. Pin modal opacity. We'll do a 0, and we'll see if it works. There we go. All right, let's center this image, and then we'll get to the actual JavaScript. So let's go here. Let's do a pin image full screen on the card. So width 100%. We'll do a height the same. We'll do a centering, so flex or display flex. We'll do a, what is it? Justify content center, align on the y-axis center. There we go. All right. And the actual image. So the container is 100%, but the image is not taking up 100%. And this is going to get a bit hairy throughout the video. We'll deal with it in the later sections, but for now, all of the images, .pin_image img, there's going to have a max height of 100%. This is not going to work for images that are certain dimensions. Some of them are going to need max width. We're going to code for that later, and depending on the dimensions of the image, we're going to attach a class that either does max height or max width, but that's not for another few sections. So pin image, let's save. All right, let's code up the JavaScript. So let's close this. Let's go, we can close this. Here we go. All right, so we're just going to listen for a change for the file. So let's just do a document. This code's going to be, it's going to be changed a bit. We're going to get these guys in variables later, but for now we're just going to do query selectors. So it's hashtag picture, add event listener. We're listening for a change event. We need the event object because we need the file. So let's check if there's a file there. So if event target files and no, my carrot's there. Event.target.files of the first array, write them in the array. Let's check if that file is actually an image file. So if, and then we're just going to do a regular expression here. So slash, it's going to be images or image. I think it's image. And it's going to be slash star. So that's going to satisfy image slash GIF, image slash PNG, image slash JPEG. We'll do a test. And we're testing the event, so the actual file. And in that file, there's a type. So if the type is image slash PNG, GIF, JPEG, it's an actual image file. It's not like a document or an MP3 file. So if that's the case, we need a new file reader. So we'll do a reader is equal to new file reader. There we go. And let's read the file. So reader.read as or data URL and the actual file. Target, and what we're going to do, files 0. So we're reading the file. Now once that file loads, we want to do something. So we'll do a reader.onload is equal to a function. We don't need the parameter or the argument. And what we're going to do, we're just going to, so this creates out of the data, it creates a URL. And this guy here accepts a URL. So we're just going to make the source that data URL, and the image should show up here. So close this. We'll just, again, in later versions or iterations, we're going to have these guys in variables, so we don't have to keep on typing document query selector. But just for the first one, we'll do it this way. And that was .pin_image. The actual image .source is equal to the reader.result. And we need to do this right here. At the end of everything, we're going to do document.query selector, the same thing, the hashtag picture, which is this choose file thing. We need to set the value to blank. So when the value comes in, it's going to be a file. When we're done all this, we want the value to equal blank. This is because if we choose one image and it loads here, and then we click the choose file again, and we choose the exact same image, that doesn't register as a change. So we're just making it a blank so we can select the same file over and over and over again. So let's save this. Let's choose a file. Pinterest mockup, images. Do I not have images here? Let me go get some images. All right, so I got some images. Let's do a choose file. And Pinterest mockup, we'll just do this guy right here. And it didn't load. Why did it not load? Query selector pin image. Let's do Control-Shift-J. Property 0 of undefined. I misspelled something. Event target files. Event target files. Event. Did I misspell it here? No. Event target files. Which line? Pin script 2. This line here. Event target files and event target files. So there we go. Save. Let's go back. Choose file. And this guy right here. And that's the modal. All right, so the pin mockup is done. Let's choose the exact same file. Actually, whatever. I'll choose this one here. So the pin modal is, or pin mockup is done. Let's move on to the add modal page mockup. All right, so let's code up that modal. We're going to be making this thing here. And so let me just, let's go over how we're going to make it first. So let me get this is paint, right? Yeah, let's do a brush size this. We'll do this. We'll go red. All right, good. So we're going to have a modal container, which is the entire page right here. Like that. Like that, excuse me. And then we're going to have the actual container here, this white part right here. And in that container, we're going to have two sides, so the left side and the right side. The left side is going to have one section, two sections, and three sections. The right side's going to have that one section and the second section like this, but there's going to be no third section here. On the left side, we're just going to have this button right here. We're going to have this gray card with all of these things right here. And we'll have a button with save from site. And we're not going to make these buttons actually useful, except for this one. When you click on this part here, you're going to be able to upload an image. On the right side, we're just going to have this selection menu. We're going to select either a small, medium, or large card, and the save button will be usable. And we're not going to model it perfectly, so we're not going to have 1, 2, 3 down here. These guys are just going to be probably somewhere here. So add your title, description, and a destination link. We're not going to do the little things to get this this input field down here and these guys up here. So that's basically what we're working with. Let me do a Control-Z. And throughout this video, we're just going to refer back to this to get some colors. Which reminds me, let's do this so I can get some colors if I need it. To get some colors and some guidance as to what we're doing. So let's go into our code and create the files necessary. Let's say we need a, let's say modal.html. Let me just do this very quickly. We'll need the exact same thing. So Modal Styles, styles.css, and let's do a modal script as well. Modal_script.js. Let's move the script in the scripts folder. Let's move the style in the styles folder. Let's do all the HTML and then we'll do the styling. So close this, let's save this, let's run it on a server. We don't need this. And we'll try and do a split screen thing. So let's do left side, right side. Let's do this here and this guy here. All right, so let's get everything on. Actually, before that, let's just link the files. So link, CSS. Let's normalize, so styles, normalize, copy, paste, and this is going to be the modal styles. And let's link the script with the source. Maybe script/modal script. Save format. All right, let's get everything on screen. So first things first, the entire modal. So we'll do a div. Yeah, that's enough room. We'll see if I need to like readjust the proportions. First, guys, a div with a add pin modal, and then we'll need the container, that white actual block in the middle of the screen. So add pin, and we'll say this is the container. And in that, we said we had two sides. So div side, we have a left side, copy paste, and a right side. Let's do some more spacing so it makes more sense. All right, so left side, what did we say we have? We had 3 sections. So div, let's say section 1, 2, 3. Let's say, what's this? 2, 3, space, space, and space, and space. And on the right side, we just had section 1 and 2. So let's copy these guys. Let's go down here, paste this, and we'll get back to the right side after the left side. All right, so where's my pane here? Let's do this this section first. Section 1. Just this little icon right here. So what do we do with icons? Well, we had the pin class, right? So let's go over here. We can go back to the pin styles right here. Actually, not styles. It's later. The actual pin HTML. When we want an icon, we just have the pin mock icon container and the icon. And this guy is the ellipses, so we can just copy and paste that code. So this, let's copy the ellipses right here. Yank this, and that's section 1 done. Save, should go to the screen, good. Ellipse, and class, pin mock icon, good. Alt, we'll just keep it at edit. You can do whatever you want. All right, section 2. Let's do this. So section 2, we are going to have, and so you're not going to see it on screen, but the way we're going to have it is we're going to surround this gray box with an HTML label. And we're going to have an accompanying input. When you click they're going to have the same. So this guy's going to have a for attribute pointing to this guy. When you click this guy, since the label surrounds this guy, and this for is meant for this input, when you click this, it activates the label, which activates the input, which lets you insert a file. You'll see when I write it down. So we're going to start with the label, and then we'll get the actual stuff the user sees. All right. Let's go back here. Section 2. Let's go here. All right. So let's start with, let's do some space here. Label, hashtag upload image, and we'll do label like that for upload image. That's going to be the thing that points to the input. Let me just do that right now before I do everything else. Let's do that right here. So if an input, they're not going to be able to see the label or the input. It's just for the user experience. Input file for label name doesn't really matter. Upload image actually does matter. It points to, and the ID will do the same thing. Upload image. All right. Now within the label, we have the actual container here, and then we have, I don't know if you can see it, but you have the dotted border here, and then within the dotted border, we have the icon, and some text informing the user. So we're going to start with the container, dotted border, and then we'll do all the innards of this stuff. Control Z all this stuff. All right. So we said the container, let's do this. We said we had the div, we'll say upload image container. Then we had the border next, we'll do an ID for that. We'll say dotted border. And then within the border, we had the icon, so we can steal that from here. But instead of the ellipses, we have the arrow. So let's go here. Up, arrow, this guy right here. And for edit, we'll just say upload image. And then we had the text down here. Let me just save. Upload image. That should be images up. But why is it not showing it? Up arrow, PNG, save. There we go. All right, let's do the text. And that text was click to upload. And the other text was, what was the other text? Recommendation, use high dash quality JPEG files less than 20 megabytes. Okay, that's good. The label has, this guy should be in the label, excuse me. And just like we had with our pin, we had the modal right here, but we also had the actual HTML to show the actual image. We need this guy in our modal as well. When we click on when we insert a file here, we want this guy to disappear and then the image to show up here. So we need HTML for the image. So let's do this. So this guy right here, pin image, the container and the actual image, that's surrounded by a card. So we need a card container. And then the pin image is going to take the properties from the card. And then the actual image takes the properties from the pin image. So let's create a container for this pin image. Let me copy these 3 lines here. Let's create a container for that right here. We'll call it modals pin, and then we'll just do that. So now we have the label, that gray stuff that you click on. When we click on that, we'll hide all of this and show the image here. So that's it for section 2. Let's move down, and we're going to do this programmatically. We're not going to hard code it like the first pin. So let's comment that out. Just use that for reference later. All right, let's go down to section 3, which is just a save from site button. Let's go back here, right here. Div, save from site, save from site. Good. All right. The right side. Right side, we'll start with this guy. This div is going to be made up of 2 elements right here. The selection box and the button. So let's go back here, section 1. We'll say div, we'll say select, and it's going to be a pin size. We'll just do select size. We'll do the actual select HTML element. So we'll just do a select, we'll do a hashtag for this one, and we'll say pin size. For this one, we'll just say pin size as well. And let's give 3 options plus a select so they can see this. So we'll say option. This will be the default. They won't be able to choose this, obviously, so it'll be disabled. and selected, just so they have something in the box when it first loads. So do select like this, ELECT. That's the select right here. And then we have 3 values. Paste, paste, paste. Actually, let me do this, delete. It's a fresh option. OPTION. Small, small. Paste, paste. And then we'll do the medium. We'll do large here, and medium right here. That's the select. All right, let's do the red button beside the select. We'll say that's the save underscore pin. I'm just going to save like that. No, not save from side, just save. Save, so there we go. And on the right side, we're not going to code, well, you don't see it here, but I erased it for this. On actual Pinterest site, there's your little user icon, your username. We're not going to do that for this this mockup. We're just going to deal with the data. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3 inputs. And here we go, section 2. So input, we'll call it the class new pin input, and we'll say the ID of pin. Paste, paste. And the first pin is going to be for the title. The second pin is going to be for the description. And the third pin is going to be for the destination. Save those. And we want some placeholders. So let's do this. Let's go placeholder. The first, what does the first one say? Add your title. Tell everyone what your pin is about. So we'll say add your title. This one says tell everyone what your pin, capital P, is about. And this one is add a destination link. Add a destination link. We'll save. All right, let's go back here. Add your title. Tell everyone what your pin. Let me just do this. Can I do this? There we go. There we go. All right, we have everything on screen, I think. Let's start styling this. So I can close this. I can close this, and let's do the modal styles. All right, let's start with the modal. So in the order we put it on the screen. So add pin modal. We'll do a width of 100%, a height of the exact same. Let's make a background color of, we'll do RGBA 0, 0, 0, and 0.5. And let's do a, what's it doing anything? Let's say width, height, background color, RGBA. Let's center it. Is it linked properly? Style / modal. Yeah, that's keeps doing that. Or I keep missing it. There we go. All right, let's close that. Let's go back here with 100%, 100%. Let's center it. So we'll do a, what are we going to do? Position of absolute. We'll do a top of 50%, left of the same. And we'll do transform, a translate of -50 by -50. And overflow hidden. We don't really need that for this. Make sure the Z index is 99999, so it's on top of everything. All right, let's go to the container now. Add pin container. We'll do a width of 880 pixels by, it was 674 pixels. We'll give it a background color of white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Let's center it. So I'm just going to copy this code to center. Paste that right here. And let me go full screen so you can see it, or else you're not going to be able to see it. I'm going to have to do a bunch of alt tabbing. I'll try not to go too fast so you guys can see it. Instead of doing something like that, I'll try and go a bit slower on the alt tabbing. All right, so that's a container. Let's surround the borders. Let's go here. Let's do a border radius of, it was 16 pixels. Yeah, it looks good. All right, let's get everything inside. So let's do an overflow of hidden first. Let's do that over here, overflow hidden. All right, let's get some padding on the sides here. These things are right up against the border of the container. We'll do padding up here. And that padding was 35 pixels. Okay, did I miss anything? Border radius, absolute. Position. No. If I miss anything, I'll go back and fix it. All right, so pin containers are done. Let's do the sides. And we'll give each side a color so you guys can see this thing transforming. So let's do a side first. So each side is, of course, going to be 50%. So 50% width, and the height is going to be 100. Let me scroll up just a bit. Height of 100%. Let's give some color to this guy. So left side, let's do a background color of orange. And the other guy will do a blue. Paste. This guy is the right side. Blue. Save. And so the container, that would be the container, that would be the sides. Container, we need to flex because we need this guy to go over here. Add pin container. Position. Let's just do it here. We'll do it right here. Display, flex. There we go. All right, let me go back here. What else do we need? So we have the Modal Styles side, left side, right side. Let's make these icons shrink to size. And we already have that code over here, which is in the pin styles. We're looking for the pin mock icon. Where is it? There we go. This bit of code right here. Save that, or copy that. We can paste that right here. Save. All right, so let's go section by section. Let's turn some colors on for these sections. And then we'll, of course, we'll style it. We'll align it properly. All right, so colors for the sections. Let's do section 1, section 2, and section 3. Let's just do this first. So width, 100%, of course. The height for the section 1 on top, we'll do 8%. And the background color, let's do purple. Let me scroll up. For section 2, it's going to be 80% on the 80% on the height, 100% height, 80%, and background color. Let's do aqua, marine, and finally section 3. 80, 88, 12% is left, so 100%. Let's do a height of 12%, and we'll do a background color of. Let's do fire brick. All right, so those are the sections there. These sides need to be, so these colors need to be pushed in. So each side needs a padding. Let's do, where's the side? Right here. Let's do a padding. I think it was 20 pixels. There we go, that looks much better. All right, so let's go section by section. Section 1, 2, and 3. Let's do some general styling first. So we're going to center everything in section 3, and we're going to center everything in section 2. Section 1, we won't center everything, because this one wants to stay on the left. This one will push to the right later. All right, so how are we going to do this? Section 2, let's do a display of, let's say, flex, and we want everything on top of each other. So it's flex direction of a column. So column, justify center, align items center. Perfect. For section 3, we just want to get this save from site in the center here. So let me copy these stuff here, this stuff. Copy that, paste that. We don't want the flex direction column. Save. There we go. All right, let's go actual things now. These actual elements within the sections. This button's too small, so we're going to modify this right now. So let's go section by section. We'll do left side like this. So left side, section 1, and the pin mock icon container. We'll do a width of 40 pixels by 40 pixels for this guy. And the background color, we're going to do this. Background color, RGB, 239, 239, 239. 0, a transition duration of 0.3 seconds. And let's do this. Let me copy this, paste that. We're just doing a transition. a hover thing right here. Copy this, paste this, and this is 1. Let's save, new format, save, and space here. So now when we go over that, we get that effect right there. All right, let's go section 2. So section 2, we need to do the actual gray box, then the border, and then all this stuff here. So gray box first. So that was, we're on the left side, we're on section 2, and that gray box was it's surrounded by the label that they don't see, but we need that because the gray box is in the label. So do upload image label, very easy for this one. We'll just do a width of 100% and a height of the same, 100% like that. Now we do the actual gray box. Let me copy these, paste that here, and that was upload image container, width 100, 100, background color. The gray was, I think, EF. Let me save that. Perfect. Let's squeeze that in on the sides. Image container, label. Where should we do it? I think we'll do it on the micro container label. It might be on the label. We'll see. Let me just round the border here. That's going to be a border radius. I think it was 8 pixels. All right, let's do the dotted border. And again, we're going to squeeze this gray box in the width of it. It's too wide right now. But I have to remember if I put it in here or if I put it in something section 2. I think I might have put it in section 2. Yeah, let's try section 2. Let's do it here. So the padding, 0 on the top and bottom, 10 pixels on the, and why is that? I'm do indent using tabs 4. Whatever. Save, go back. There we go. So it's squeezed in on the sides there, and it's squeezed in on the sides here. All right, so let's do the dotted border. Let's copy this, paste this, and add one more. That's going to be a hashtag dotted border. All right. So we'll do a width of 100%, a height of the same. We'll do a border radius of the same, so 8 pixels. And then we'll do a border of 2 pixels, dashed, and this color, DA. We should have something there. So let's push the dotted border. It's kind of faint. We'll push that in by giving this guy a padding of 10 pixels, like that. So we have the dotted border, and something's, there we go. So when we click, or the user puts their mouse over this container, this guy right here, you want to indicate that they're going to be able to click on it, right? So let's change the mouse to a cursor, a pointer. We'll do that on the label over here. We'll just say cursor pointer. Now when we go over here, they know they can they click on it. So let's center all of this stuff here, and then you can't see it because the icon is the same color as the background. We're going to change the icons, that arrow, that up arrow, we're going to change that background color in a second. Let's just center everything in the screen here on the section 2 of this guy. Dotted border. Let's do display. We'll do a flex. We'll do a flex direction of column. We'll do justify center. Do we need justify center? Yeah, we do. I think we do. Align center. And this text needs to be centered as well. Align center. Good. Let's fix this icon. There's an icon right here. You just can't see it. So that icon is in left side, section 2. And since that's the only icon, I'm not going to do I could write all of this stuff here, but that's the only icon in section 2. So let's just do a pin mock icon container like that. And we'll do a background color of 76, 76, 76. There we go. So we have all of that. This is dotted border, dotted border, dotted border. Everything's, looks pretty good for the spacing. Or we can just do more spacing. Whatever, you guys can play around the spacing. I was just thinking you could shrink this in more by doing a padding, but whatever, I'll leave it. So let's do this. All right, so notice this this guy right here. We don't want them to see the input. That's supposed to be hidden. That's just for us. So let's hide that, and then we'll style this this button right here. So let's go here, and that was, no, we'll just do, I'll do it after the label since they go together. Upload image label right here. Left side, section 2, and that was in the actual upload image. So upload image label, and that was the input. So we're just gonna hide it like this. Width of 0, a height of the same, just to make sure opacity of 0. There we go, that's hidden. Let's style this button right here. That'll be section 3, last section for the left side. Left side, section 3, and that was in the save from site. We'll have a width of 340 pixels. We'll have a height of 48 pixels. We'll have a background color of that same gray, so EF, EF, EF. Perfect. Let's do a border radius to get it round like this one right here. And let's just do a, what are we doing? A border radius, I think it was 22 pixels. Yeah, let's center the text. Let me just copy some code for centering stuff. Where's the display? This guy right here. Yank. Let's go paste. There we go. Let's fix the text from here. So bold, and let's increase. Might need to increase the size of it. We'll see. So we'll do a font weight 700. What do we have? This one here. Looks the same. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so that's the save from size. That's looking pretty good. 20, 20, 0, 10. All right, so you can't see it right now, but that icon container that we had here, when we hide the label, we want this guy to show right here, right here. We don't actually have the styling for this, but the styling comes from the pin styles. So we can take all of that. So the card plus the pin image. Where's the pin image and stuff like that? Pin image and pin image here. So let's take the card first. So let me yank that, paste that right down here. We're going to modify the width and the height to look proper. Pin styles, and then we need the pin image container as well as the styling for the actual image element. So copy that, paste that down here. And so when that shows, it's going to be not 236, it's going to be 252, and it's going to be, what is it going to be, 250, 512. That should be the dimensions. Border radius, same. Position relative. We don't want a background color. Overflow hidden's good. What else do we want? Border radius, position, overflow, pin image. This is okay. This is okay. That should be good. And let's do this. Actually, it's going to be hidden initially. And that's not card. That's Modal's card. Or else it would conflict when you merge the two later. Modal's card. Just doing inspect to see if it's on the screen. Input, label, Modal's pin, excuse me, not Modal's card. So wondering why it wasn't showing on screen like this. Close this. All right, so it's right here. We need to hide it. And then when we click on this, upload a file, we hide this and then show the image here. So to hide that, we're just going to do this initially. Display of none and opacity of 0. If we just did opacity of 0, we'd get this. It's still there. So we need a display of none. So it's off screen. Once we add an image to it, though, you can't really transition using display none. So we're going to display of block. So you're not going to be able to see it on screen until we have the display of none. Plus we fade it in. So opacity of 0. So that's why we have, you could say, two things that are quote unquote hiding this, this HTML element. And I forgot this. The cursor is still a text thing for this button. Let's change that. And that was the dotted border. No, that was save from site right here. All right, let me turn off the colors for all the stuff on the left, and we'll see what we get. Here. And what else do we need here? Sections. Section 1, there you go. Section 2, Section 3. There we go. That looks pretty identical. The spacing could use some work. This guy's a bit higher relative to here. Our guy's pretty close to here. That looks good. This guy has... This guy looks like it's perfectly aligned with this guy. Ours is slightly, I think, slightly smaller, but that's okay. Also, their text is down here, and ours is just centered. You could fix this stuff on your own time. I just don't want to get too much CSS doing little things like aligning things like this. It would just be a waste of time and might add to the confusion. All right, so let me turn the colors back on, and then we'll just finish the right side, and then we'll do the JavaScript to get the size that they want, small, medium, or large. And then we already have the logic of clicking on an input file or an input file, and then picking a picture, and then reading that picture in a reader, and then hooking the data as a URL into the source of the image. So we have that logic from the pin guy. The new logic is just going to be from this guy. So let's do this. Let's turn the colors on, and then we'll finish the right side. And let's go here. Colors back on. Firebrick and display none. Colors are back on or no? Close that. So it is working. I click this, and it's prompting me to get an image. We click on something, it doesn't load anything. We can F5. All right, let's get the right side going. All right, so go back to the CSS, and right down here, let's start on the doing left side. That's the pin image. Start with the right side. So we'll do the first section. So this guy right here, not there. This guy right here. So back here, let's do what are we doing? Let's go right side. We'll do that section 1, and we need to do, let's do this first. Display of flex, we'll do a justify. Content flex end, what do we get? Good, let's style the container for these two guys. So let me copy this, paste that down here. And that was in the, what was that in? That was in section right side, select size div. So select size, we'll do a width of, let's say 236 pixels, a height of 40, and we'll do we don't need a background color. We'll do a display of flex to get those guys side by side. There we go. All right, let's do the select little box here, and then the save button. So let me copy this, paste this, select size, we need the select item or element. And let's copy these two, paste that here, and this guy will be the save pin. There. All right, so the select HTML element. Let's do a width of 70%, not dollars, 70%. We'll do a height of 100. We'll do a color of that background color, this color right here, which is EF. So background color, we'll do EF. Let me just do side by side, so we can see what we're actually doing. EF, save, there we go. Let's round these borders just like these borders are rounded right here. So go back, go here. So border, let's do none. Good. Let's do border, what would be top left? There we go. 8 pixels, and then the bottom left as well. Save, there we go. We click this. Notice how it's outlining the choice. Let's remove that outline. So right here, let's just do an outline of none. So now when we do this, there we go. Good. Let's fix the font size. Let's do 16 pixels. Good. Looks good. All right, let's do the save button. So the width is going to be the remaining 30%. So width of 30%. The height is still 100, and the color is that red color, which is hashtag, I think it was E60023. Yeah, there we go. Save that. Let's round the, let me just do this. Let's round this, these two borders. So just copy this as well. We don't need the border none. Copy these two lines, and it should be the top right and the bottom right. RGHT. All right, let's center the text, and also make the cursor a pointer, not the arrow. Let me do that quickly. So cursor, pointer. Let's center the text. Display flex, justify center, align items center, and the color for our text. Let me scroll down. It's going to be white. All right, let's bold the text, and we should be good. So font weight of 700. All right, that looks pretty good. Of course, we don't have the arrow's smaller, but that's okay. All right, let's go to the section 2. Section 2, right side, and then section 2. And each of those inputs was the new pin input. Let's do side by side. All right, so the width is, of course, the entire container, so 100%. Let's do a height of 50 pixels, 50px. Let's get rid of all those borders, so border none. But we want the bottom border like this. We want these lines right here. I can't really see it. This line right here. So that would be border bottom 2 pixels solid, and the color was, I think, C6. There we go. Let's space them out. Let's do a margin bottom. Margin bottom. Let's go 20. See what that looks like. It looks good. Width, height, margin. When you click on it, we get that outline. Let's remove that. So outline none. And let's up the font. So we'll do a font size of 16 pixels. Let's see, and let's get rid of the background color. Background color will be transparent. There we go. Add your title, tell everyone what your pin is about, add a destination link. This looks good. All right, let's go into the JavaScript and make this guy show the picture. And when we click the save, we're just going to save all of the information. We're going to save the pin size, we're going to save the title, the description, the destination, and the image data. We'll package it in an object. In the next phase, when we merge the two, we'll send that object to a function that displays it in an actual card. Not this card here, but the card right here. This card right here, the pin.html. Let's do this. I'm just thinking if I forgot anything. Small, medium, large, save button. Those are good, those are good. Did I forget anything? If I did, I'll go back. Let me cancel that. All right, let's code up the JavaScript. Let's go full screen on this. Full screen on this. Pin styles. Oh, I forgot. When we get to it, I'll show you. We're missing two classes down here, but it won't make sense unless I show you. All right, so pin modal script. So first things first, we want to save the image data outside of a function. So we're just going to have a variable like this. We'll say the pin image blob, and the blob is just the type of data. It's just a large string of characters. We're just doing null for now. Now, when they click that button, we want to pop up this thing right here, and then we save the data. We already did this logic in the pin, so we can just copy that logic from the pin script right here. All of this, copy all of this, yank, close. Let's paste it here. And the query is going to be in the upload image. We need this, change, event, testing good, reader good, on load. Let's get rid of this for now. All right, so when we load, let me just do this. We just made the source of an image on the pin. This guy right here. But for this modal, we're not hard coding it. We're going to generate a new image. So let me close this. So we don't need this line. We need to generate a new image. So we'll do this const new image is equal to new image, and the image or the new image dot source is equal to the reader dot result. We also need to save. This is the image data. We need to save that in this so that we can, in a different function, save it in an object. So we'll do a pin image blob, same thing, reader dot result. Now we'll do the same thing we did here with reader.onload. When that new image has loaded, so on load, we'll run a function, don't need the event. What are we going to do? We're going to generate a new, well, we generated the actual image tag here. We're going to append it into the pin image. So we'll do it like this. We'll do document query selector. We'll say add pin modal, and that was in the pin image. Pin image dot append child and the new image. Now we have the image in there, but this guy's hidden. So what we're going to do next is we're going to hide the label, which is this guy right here, hide this gray stuff, and then we're going to show the actual image. So let's hide the label first. Document query selector hashtag upload image label style, not that, style dot display. We'll say none, and let's show this. We're going to show the modal, but remember the modal's not only is it the display off, but the opacity is off, and you'll see. Well, you won't see why. I'll explain why in a second. So we need to do two things in order to show this this modal pin element. We need to fix its display. Let me capture that here. Yeah, I'll do it here. Modals. And the only reason I'm capturing is we're going to use this guy twice. We really only use this guy once, so I didn't create a new variable for this guy. Modals pin, and that was document query selector, which is right here. No, query selector. No, not that either. Document query selector, and that was, we'll do add pin modal, modals pin. There we go. Space. All right, let's turn it on. So modals pin dot style dot display is equal to block, and we also need to turn on the opacity. So modals pin dot style dot opacity is equal to 1. Okay, that looks good. Let's save and see if it works. Let's go here. We click. Let me just refresh for good luck. All right, we click here. Let's click on the. Let's choose this on pexel.jpg. There we go. Now notice we have the round board. Let me do this. Control-Shift-J. Value of null. That's because this guy right here shouldn't be picture. That should be upload image. There we go. All right, let's try again. Pexel. So notice we have the card. It's filling up the entire card. You can see the rounded border. Let's go to the right here. I want to show you why we're going to add two CSS classes. Pin container. It's the left side, section 2, and that was in modals pin. This guy right here. So notice how it's highlighting this. Just notice the blue outline when I go over the element. So let's do a different image. Let's do this guy right here. And you see how that looks? This image is not taking up the entire width of the modals pin. So you don't get the rounded look. So what we need to do is, right now all of these have a default. What are they default? It's pin image right here. There we go. The default is max height. And so this image is taking the maximum height, but the width doesn't fill out. And so depending on the dimensions of the image, it needs to be either max height or max width. And so what we're going to do is we've attached it doesn't matter which one you attach first. We're going to attach a max width. And so max width, and then we're going to check if the image right here, in this case, in this image right here, the width is not filling the parent container. So if the width doesn't fill the parent container, we're just going to switch this guy to max height or max width, just the opposite max. So let's do this. Let's go to our Modal Styles, and right underneath, so we don't need this guy right here. Comment that out. We'll say max width, and that'll be max width 100%, and we'll do a pin max height of 100% as well. Max height, there we go. And then we go into the code, and that's why we needed the two different types of displays. We needed to hide it in terms of its display, and then hide it in terms of its opacity. And this gives us time to adjust either max width or max height, and then we show it. And we need to display it because we need to get the properties of the element. If we don't display the element, we can't get the properties of it in the tree. So we need to do this. Let me just do this first. So the new image source, we'll do it right. You can do it anywhere here. Let's do it right here. New image class list. We'll say .add. We'll just do the pin max width. There we go. And so we display it on the page, but they can't see it yet because the opacity is not 1. So before they see it, we're just going to check, is the image filling the entire container? So we'll do it like this. If, we'll do this. So if new image get bounding client rect .width, if it's less than the width of its container, so new image parent element get bounding client rect .width, or maybe it's a new height or something. So we'll copy this, paste, delete these two, or the height isn't filled. So if it doesn't fill the width or the height, just switch out the max width or the max height. So what we're going to do is we started with the width, so we're going to remove the width like this. We'll just do a remove, copy, paste, and then we'll just add the opposite one. So add pin max height. So we'll save, we go back, we click, and this one was giving us the problems. There we go, perfectly rounded. F5. Click on this one, perfectly rounded. F5. This image right here is the horizontal is a lot larger. Let me do this. It's wider than it is tall, so it's a different dimension than these two images. These are taller than they are wide. We click on that, and it's still, you get the rounded look. All right, so last thing we do for this phase, or the modal mockup, when they hit the save button. So let's do that. So let's do document query selector. We'll do a, what are we looking for here? .save pin, save underscore pin. Add event listener. We'll listen for a click. We don't need the event. And we're just going to construct a new object. So let's just say const users data is equal to object. And we're not really going to code for it. We're just going to use default values. But we're going to attach an author and a board because you can pin different pins to different boards using Pinterest. So what you're not going to see here is the author and the board. But we have a title, we have a description, we have a destination, we have an image, and I think that should be it. So let's just do this. The author, default author. This is for the future in case you guys want to implement an author. Let's say Jack. For the board, we're just going to say default. Default. Next up, let's do the title, which is going to be in document.query selector. Did I give those guys IDs? I think I did. Let me close this. Close this. Class ID, yeah, pin title, pin description, pin destination. So this guy will be the ID pin title dot value. Let me copy this line. This guy will be the description, and this will be the pin description, and this guy will be the destination link, and that guy will be the destination as well. Destination. And of course we need to save the image blob, so we'll just say image underscore blob is equal to the pin image blob. Is that everything? Author, board, title, description, destination, the actual image data. And that's going to be it for what's on the card. Let's print that out to see if it's working. And the next phase will actually send this user's data to a we're going to send it to a create pin function like that. Pin user's data, and it's just going to create a pin for the actual Pinterest layout. So let's just print this out and see if it's working. Console.log and user's data. All right, save. Let's go back. Let's pick an image. This guy right here. Let's select. That's what I forgot. The pin size. Let's go back here. I'll put that right here. Pin size. And that's the select. So it would be document.query selector. And that would be hashtag pin underscore size dot value. There we go. Save, go back, click. Let's go hotline. Let's go medium, title, hotline, Miami. Testing a pin. And let's go to Mozilla. Actually, Mozilla. Let's go to yahoo.com. All right, Control-Shift-J. Give me the console. Let's click save. There we go. So we have the author, Jack, board, default, description, testing a pin, destination. This is the image data. It's the blob. We have the pin size, medium, and we have the title, hotline, Miami. All right, so everything, there's no errors. Everything looks good. Let's merge these two. So in the next little phase, we're going to use this modal. When we click save, it's going to make the modal disappear. Of course, we're going to see this here. Click save, make the modal disappear, and on our screen, we're just going to get the this guy, get the pin right here with this thing, and this thing will show the destination, and the title, of course, is embedded. They don't see it. That's for our purposes on the back end. And so once those two are merged, we'll just take all that logic and then put it or apply it to the actual Pinterest layout. All right, so to start off this this merge, we'll just create a new file. So let's call it the modal and pin.html. Let's do an accompanying CSS and JavaScript file and pin.js. And we need a CSS file and pin.css. Let's throw this guy here. Let's throw this guy here. All right, so and let's just start up the server. So we're just gonna have a button on the top here that allows us to show the modal, and then we'll fill it out, and then it'll show a pin here. So let's do, what should we do? Let's do a side by side. All right, so let's do our links first. This guy's going to be the normalize styles. Normalize CSS. Three things. Let's do the pin styles. Let's do the modal styles. And that guy should be called, let's say styles, modal and pin, JS, modal and pin. Let's rename this guy. Styles. There we go. Modal styles be modal and pin styles. Save. So we normalize. We have the pin with the modal styles, modal and pin styles. Let's link our script. Let's do a script of scripts and modal and pin. All right. Very simple. Let's just do a navigation bar. So navigation bar, and within that, we're just gonna have an icon. So let's steal that code from the pin HTML. Copy that, close this, paste that here, and we want to do the ellipse. We'll do the add PNG, and for the alt, we'll just say add pin. The class is the same for this class right here because we want to click on the on this icon. We'll add a class of add pin in this right here. Save. Is it on screen? Let's do an F5. Add pin. PNG. Not there, excuse me. It should be right here. Add. There we go. So let's style this guy over to the right side and make it larger, and we put the mouse over it. We want it to just show a little bit of an animation. So we can close. We'll do this first. We won't need this for a while. All right. Navigation bar. We'll do a width of 100%. We'll do a height of 10%. Let's do a position of fixed. We'll fix it to the top. There we go. Let's style that button. So that was that navigation. Let me spell it right here. Navigation. There we go. So navigation bar, and that was that add underscore pin. Is that correct? Add underscore pin. Perfect. Let's do a width of, we'll do 60 by 60. So 60 pixels for the width and 60 pixels for the height. All right, let's make it on the right side. So we'll do a relative like this. We'll do a left, we'll start with top of 10%. 10%, we'll do a left of 90%. Let's see what that gives us. There we go. And let's do the cursor's already pointer, right? Yeah, let's do a hover for that. Yank, paste. Let's do a hover. And we'll do a background color of, let's see if we can get a grayer color. Let's say C6, is that it? C6, C6, what does that give us? If we hover over it, so too fast, we need a transition, duration. So transition, duration, let's do 0.3 seconds. Let's do this, background C6, let's try EF. EF. Try to get a darker color here. No, it might be C6, or maybe 76. Save that. There we go, that's better. Let's also add a transform. We'll do a scale of 1.2. Let's try that. Click over it. There we go. All right. Let's go back into the modal and pin, and we're going to add the pin and the modal HTML. We'll start with the pin. So we can copy all of this, including the card, and I'll discuss something in a second. So let's copy all of this and close this file. Paste that. All right, so we're going to add pins to a container. So let's do this. div.pin_container, like that. And copy this div, or cut that div out, put that here. Not there, we can throw like there, delete these two spaces, format. All right, so we are going to programmatically, so this is hard-coded right now. We're going to programmatically add a pin. So we just have this for a reference. So we're just going to do this. Comment this out. In the JavaScript, we're just going to generate all of this in the JavaScript and then attach it to the pin container. So that's good for the pin. We need the modal now. So let's open that file, modal. We can copy all of this. There we go. Yank and close this file. And paste it down here. Save and Modal Styles CSS. There we go. Let's do this. Full screen. All right, so let's get rid of all this coloring, and then we're going to hide this modal initially. We want to click the button, and then it pops up. So modal, let's go to the Modal Styles. All of those colors. Was it the Modal Styles? Yeah, it should be here. There we go. Let's get rid of the orange, let's get rid of the blue, let's get rid of the purple, let's get rid of the aquamarine, and get rid of the fire brick as well. Save, go back. There we go. All right, F5. Let's add some styles to. We're not going to add to the modal styles because this is standard or compartmentalized with the modal HTML. What we want to do is we want to add some properties to the add pin modal. So we'll do that in the modal and pin styles. So add pin modal. We want to hide it initially, so opacity of 0 and pointer events off. So let's do pointer events, and we'll say none. There we go. Save, go back. There we go. Let's code up this this button. When you click this, we want the modal to show. That's good for the pin modal. Yeah, that's good for the CSS. Let's get into the modal and pin.js. So document.query selector, we need the add pin button. Add event listener, listen for a click. Do we need the event? No, we don't. Arrow function. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say, what are we going to do? And we're going to use this a bunch of times, so might as well do this. Const. Let's say add pin modal document. Query selector, and that was .add pin modal. There we go. So add pin modal .style.opacity. Style.opacity, ACITY, is equal to 1, and turn on the pointer events. Style.pointer events is equal to all. Save, go back, click, there we go. And it went way too instant. Let's add, that's what I forgot. Let's add a transition duration for this. Let's call it 0.5 seconds. So we can close this. Let's try again. There we go. Now when we click here, we want the modal to disappear because currently there's no way to get this screen off. We press escape, nothing happens. We're just going to do a simple, when we click on the modal, not the actual card, the modal is going to disappear. We'll put that in a function called reset modal. And when we do the reset modal, we'll also clear this image and clear all of these inputs and clear the selection as well. So let me F5 it. Let's write that function, call reset modal. I'm just going to do this. So if they touch, and we need the reset modal. We'll do this. Query selector, and we need the add pin modal, and add event listener. We're listening for a click. We need the event for this one. I'll show you why in a second. So if the event.target is equal to the add pin modal, so if it's equal to this gray space, then we want the modal to reset and fade out. If they click here, obviously we don't want the modal to go away. So if it's equal to add pin modal, we are going to reset the modal. There we go. So first things first, let's just fade it out. So reverse this logic. Add pin style opacity of 0, and we'll say none for this. And let's clear some information. So we're going to clear this label. We're going to clear these inputs and this select. Let's start with this guy. And so if they have an image here, like this, let's say this guy right here, if there's no logic for it yet. So if there's an image here, we want to clear that, but only if there's an image. Because if we try to clear the image and there's no image, it's going to break the code. So we'll just say if the, and that would be in the what? Right here. So we need the add pin image should have a child here. So we'll say right here. So if, and should we add pin modal? Has it? Yeah, we could do that. So add pin modal has a children. Let me go back here. Add pin modal, add pin container. Let's just get the modal's pin. Let's not do the whole the tree. So let's just get this guy, modal's pin, because we're going to need that anyways. So let's go back here. Let's do this. Const modal's pin is equal to document query selector, and that was add pin modal, modal's pin. There we go. So in the modal's pin right here, child of 0 should have a image. Let's go back here. So modal's pin, children, its first child. If there is a child in here, children of 0, that means there's an image tag in there. We're just going to append, or excuse me, remove the child. So we'll just do a, what are we going to do? Let's say modal's pin.children of 0, which gives us the pin image container, .remove child. And we want to remove the modal's pin, children of 0, children of 0. We'll see if that breaks. Basically, all I'm doing is this. If modal's pin, its child, has a child, then remove this guy's child, which is this, remove this child right here. So modal's pin, children 0, children 0. Again, we'll see if it works or it blows up. And since this is just one if, we'll just do this. All right. Let's clear the values now. So document query selector, and that was pin title on value blank. So that's the title, that's the description, that's the destination, that is the select value, and then we're gonna have the pin image blob later when we import the code from the other files. So this title, let's do description, let's do a destination here, destination, and this is the pin size, which is the select. All right, that looks good. Let's import the code for the modal and pin stuff, which is here, modal script, pin script. We'll do modal script. So let's copy all of this. There we go. We'll yank that. We'll paste that down. We'll paste that right here. There we go. And we have this save. Yes, we do. Save pin. We'll need a create function here. Do we need anything from here? We don't. All right, so when we have the thing, we do that. New image. Max width, append child. All right, so when we click let me just see if this works. Click this, click this, click this. Let's add an image. And it's not bordering because this. We have in our pin styles, in our modal styles, we have, where is it? Left side, right side, pin image. Right here. We have this guy here, but in our pin styles, we also have the image here. Where is it? Pin image, this guy right here. So it's overriding the that if conditional of these guys right here from the last section. So we also need to uncomment or comment this guy out. Save, close that, close that. It's in F5. Add. There we go. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Let's click off. And it's not showing the label. I forgot to do that. So in our reset modal, we just have to reverse this logic. So when we showed the, where is it? Pin, here we go. So we made the label disappear, and then we showed the modal's pin. We're just gonna make the label reappear and hide the modal's pin. So let's do this. Let me copy these two lines. Let me paste them right here, and the opacity line as well. And we're just, again, reversing the logic of showing everything, resetting the modal. So instead of hiding the label, we're going to show the label, and we're going to hide the image on the modal screen. Let's go back. Let's click. Give me an image. Let's do this one. Blah, 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 blah. Click. And it's still not showing. Why is that? Display. That shouldn't be all. Excuse me. It should be block. Give me an image. Let's do this one. Blah, blah. There we go. There we go. There we go. And we're back at the neutral standpoint. All right. So when we save, we want to create that. We create the object. We're going to pass that object of the data here, all that information, to a create pin function. And we also want to clear the modal. So we'll do this. So after you save, we're going to create a pin. We pass the user's data. And then we also want to reset the modal afterwards. Reset modal. So let's create this user or create pin function. Function create pin. Let's say pin details. All right, so first things first, a lot of the same logic of creating this pin here. So first things first, let's create this. So let's do this here. In our pin container, we're going to create all of this in JavaScript. So we're going to create an actual element of a div. Then we're just going to copy all of this for an inner HTML. You'll see. So first things first, let's do this. new pin is equal to document. Create element, create a div. We also need to create an image because we're not going to hard code this image here. We're going to add it in as a JavaScript element or node. So new image is equal to new image. Okay, let's do new image dot source is equal to the pin details, and that's going to be in the image blob up here. img blob. All right, same thing as the logic here. We wait for the onload event. So right here, not there, excuse me. We'll do new. Let me scroll up. New image dot onload equals a function. So we know the image is loaded. Let's do this. Let's go with new image dot. Actually, just do this first. New pin dot class list dot add. We're just copying or mimicking this. We need to add the card class to the div we just generated. Class list add card, and just like we added the right here, we started with the pin max width and then we checked later. We have to add this to the new image. Let me just copy this line. Yank, and then paste that right here. All right. So we have the classes added to the new pin, the new image. We now need to add all of this HTML into the card. So we can copy all this. Copy all of this. Yank. And we'll just say new pin.inner HTML is equal to tilde. And we do not need, let's do this. All right. We can do this. We don't need this line here. We're not hard coding the image thing, so we can delete this line right here because this image is going to be this new image that we generated. So we can delete this line. Okay. And let's do this. We now have a title. So div pin title, this guy right here. We can add that in. Again, the user won't see this. It's just for our purposes on the back end. So pin details and the title. We also have the destination. So instead of the hard-coded eatery, we can do this. Pin details dot destination. Destination like that. That looks good. Let's add this pin to this container. So let's do a document query selector, and that was dot pin underscore container dot append child and the new pin. So the new pin is added. That's what I forgot. So if we add this pin right away, they're going to see it, and then they're going to see that card like this. How we fixed it in the last section. If we add the pin right away and we close the modal, they're going to see the sharp borders of this before we actually readjust whether or not the card has to be max width or max height. So initially, we'll do this. We create the new pin here, create the new image. Let's just hide the pin for now. New pin.style.opacity is equal to 0. So let's do our checks. We added this to the pin container right here. We now need to add the image to the new pin. So like this, new pin, and it's gonna be children, and every new pin has, that's child, where is it? New pin is the card, this guy, that's child 0, child 1, and then child 2. We need to attach the image to child 2. So we'll just do new pin, children 0, 1, 2, append the child. And we're just following the image. We're just following this logic right now. Just like we attached the image here to the pin image. And then we don't really need this stuff here. But we attach it to the new image. We check to see that the image is filling out that card. And then we show the image on screen. So we can copy this logic right here. That's the check. So we've attached it. And because we attached it, we can now check it. If we didn't attach it and we tried to check beforehand, we couldn't because it's not attached to the tree. So we attach it to the HTML tree. We do our checks like that. And then we show the card. So new pin, we'll do .style.opacity of 1. There we go. Let's save and see if we got it working. So let's start with this guy right here. Let's say first pin. We'll say blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Let's do large. This is not going to work for this merge. This is for the last final Pinterest layout. But let's just say large. We'll save. There we go. Hover over, and there's the destination. If we right-click inspect, we'll find the title here. There we go. First pin's the title right there. Let's add another one. Let's do this one here. Let's go medium. Let's go second pin, blah, 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 eatery.com. Let's save. There we go. It's a second pin, eatery.com. Right-click, inspect, and there we go, second pin. So we have the logic working to where we use the modal, and you can fix this if you want in your own thing. Right now it's just 100% of the viewport height and width, and so it gets cut off here. You can fix that on your own time. So right now we have the logic working to where we enter some input. We choose a picture. We choose a select, and we save, and it adds it to the page. And of course the overlay still works for each card. 3, 2, whatever. We have the eatery.com, and then we have FSD stuff. So in the next phase, we're just going to take everything we just did, and we are going to apply it to the final Pinterest layout. All right, so get this thing finished. Let's create 3 more files. We'll just do a final board. So final board.html. We'll have a CSS and a JavaScript file. So final board.js and a final board.css. All right, let's get this guy spinning up on a server. Actually, let's do this. There we go. Nope. There we go. Let's open with a server. And let's get the HTML going. There we go. Let's link all the files. We'll just copy stuff from the modal and pin HTML. So these 3 right here. That's the CSS. We need the final board CSS as well. Final board. And we need the script as well. So script source./scripts/final board. So we need the navigation bar, so let's copy that. Copy, we'll do a paste. We need a pin container. This pin container is going to be hooked up to the CSS of the Pinterest layout from it's going to be a previous video or the next video. If that video is not out by the time I do this one, it'll be the next one for sure. So pin container, like that. Speaking of which, let's get the CSS for the Pinterest layout, which is on my desktop. Right here. Let's do this. Throw that here. We'll take all of this stuff here. Yank. We can close this file. And let's put that in the final board CSS. We don't need a body here. We need a format there. What don't we need? Let's get rid of the centering of the position. We'll see if we need that. We don't want to have a background color for the board, so let's get rid of that. We don't need a background color for the card, so we can get rid of that. Small, medium, large. Everything's looking good. Small, medium, large. All right, we'll save that. So we have the container hooked up to the final board or the Pinterest layout. We need the actual modal, so let's open that. So we'll take all of this and we'll just yank all of that and close this file. We'll paste that down here. Save, see what we get. Let's do an F5. And that modal is showing right away. Why is that? Navigation. Final board CSS. Normalize pin. Let's do a inspect. See what's going on with the navigation bar. Navigation bar is not getting its CSS properly. Why is that? Oh, we didn't copy the CSS. That's why. So modal and pin CSS. Did I not copy that? Let's go yank. We'll put that at the top of our file, under the root. The root's just the CSS variables. So we'll save that. There we go. Click. Not working. Why is that? We don't have the JS, the JavaScript. Let's get that in. So modal and pin JavaScript. Control A, copy, close. Control V, save, go back. There we go. Click off. Perfect. Any errors when you do that? Click. No. Click. Perfect. All right. So we have the HTML. We have the navigation bar. We have the pin container for the actual board. We have the modal. Everything looking good. Yes, we have the script attached. Let me just do this. Let's do CSS first. CSS. Everything's looking good. All right. Final board J. We can close that. Final board JS. Everything's looking good. Let's see what happens when we add one of these guys. We'll add this guy right here. Blah, 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 blah. We'll say large, save. Looks good. Let's try medium one right now. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go medium, save. And the medium is not showing up as a medium. And that's because of this. So we have these three files. Normalize, pin styles. So in the pin styles, we have a card property. CSS property defined. We also have one for the actual Pinterest modal. That one should override this one, so we have to comment this one out. So take that one out. Let's just see if we have one in the modal styles. We don't want any overlap with dot card. Any dot cards? Any dot cards? Any dot cards? No, looks good. All right, we'll see if it works now. Let's go back. F5. Let's do a this one right here. Blah, 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 blah. Medium, save. And it's still screwing up. Why is that? Let's do this. So the card, pin styles, width, height, border radius, position, overflow. And the card we have for the actual layout. Where is it? There we go. So let's do a position of relative. And we'll do an overflow of hidden. That should work. Let's go back. F5 plus. Let's do this one. Blah, 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 blah. We'll do medium. Save. Still not working. Let's do Control-Shift-J, see what's up. Pin container. You know what? We're not actually attaching the we're not attaching the class. So we have these three classes: small card, medium card, large card. When we create the pin here, we're not adding the class, the appropriate class. We have the card class, but we need either a card small, card medium, or card large. So let's do that right here. Yank, paste, and we'll just do a string templating like that. So card underscore, and that size just comes from the selection menu. That's the pin size right here. So card underscore pin details dot pin underscore size. Hit save, and that should be it. Let's do this guy. Blah, blah, blah. Medium, save. There we go. It's a medium. Let's do a large or small. Blah, blah. Bunch of numbers. We'll do a large. There's your large. Let's do a small. Here, this one right here. Small. Blah, blah, blah. Save. Let's do a couple more, and then we're going to see if it's responsive. This guy will do a large, blah, blah, and blah. Let's do another medium, medium. This one, medium, blah, 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 save, and one more medium. We'll go with this guy right here, medium. All right, let's see if this works. So all these guys, their modals are good. Modals is good. We can go into the code and fix this. It's a bit too tall. We can just put a padding or a margin, probably a margin top. We won't do that for this video. We won't be so nitpicky, but it's basically good. All right, let's check the responsiveness. You can go over here. There we go. Scroll down. And there we go. All right, so that's the video. Full Pinterest mockup. It's not the full Pinterest site, but it's the main functionality of the Pinterest site. All JavaScript, CSS, HTML. No external libraries. CSS Grid handles all of the responsive stuff, so that's good. We didn't have to do any of that in the JavaScript. And so don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. It helps the channel grow. And I will see you guys in the next video.